Wendy just asked a really great question that I wanted to. It was kind of what I was going to go into anyway, with Gerald's awesome question before we took our break. But I'm going to go back to this screen for a minute, um, where I was talking about the cause of our results, and we were talking about the fact that we take action from emotion and that we actually interact with everything that we're doing from a certain feeling. And when we can be more intentional about the way we want to feel before we take the action, we're actually causing that action to create a result that we would prefer. And it does in the beginning take a little bit more of a concerted effort because we are putting on this new habit of being more intentional about every segment of our day and every segment of our life. I will say it does feel a little laborious in the beginning. And Wallace Waddles, who is the author of The Science of Getting Rich, says that this is the most laborious work in the world. It's to actually use our mind, to control the way we're thinking, to really believe that the way we're thinking can actually create the results that we want in our life instead of going back to that autopilot thinking and just cruising through your day and your activities without putting on the intention of, well, this is what I would really like to happen today. Before I send this email, here's what I would love to happen. Before I send this email, I would love to get this response. So I'm just going to mentally rehearse that response before I even start writing. And I'm going to put on, sometimes this helps when we're thinking about generating a certain level of income. Sometimes it helps to just put on a certain clothing, that allows you to feel more like the person who's generating that amount of money. So anything you can do to help yourself feel like you are that person, my recommendation is to do it. Anything you can do, and that's different for everybody, but I know for me, if I get ready, even if I'm working from home, if I really take the time to get ready and feel put together, I feel more energetically aligned with the woman in my vision, than the woman in the midst of working from home and all the things. So the what I said to Wendy and what I would love for everyone to hear is that the energy that we take the action from is just as important as taking the action. So when I made that example of, I really, there's some desire to feel more fit in your body. And so you decide that you're going to go running. And you might have one feeling that's like beating yourself up for eating something. And so you're going to go running from the feeling of shame and blame and, darn it, why did I do that? I shouldn't have eaten that. I'm just going to run and punish myself. So there's one way that you can go running. Well, here's another way that you can go running. I'm so happy to be alive and have this body that moves and does everything I ask it to. I'm so grateful I have the ability to go running and like actually a beautiful street to go running on. And like I'm breathing in oxygen and my lungs are filling up with air. And like I get another day. I'm going to go running to celebrate my life. Okay, well, now I'm running from a very different energy. And this example can be applied to everything. It can be applied to conversations. Um, it can be applied to ideas. When we feel like when life feels really hard, and I don't mean to say again like you're living in the gutter. Life can feel really hard when it looks really good. Like this doesn't look one way. Life can feel really hard even when it looks really good on the outside. Um, When it just feels like, in me, and I know this example always works for me in my brain, it feels like gridlock traffic and there is no exit ramp. Like that's what hard feels like for me. It's just back to back traffic. I'm sitting on a highway and there's no getting out of it. The way that you access the exit ramp is to calm your mind down. It's to relax your body and your mind so that you can actually access your creative thinking. Your creative thinking is where you get ideas, and ideas are what create change in your life. In fact, we think about money a lot, and a lot of people in these manifestation conversations talk about manifesting money. And my encouragement, rather than thinking about manifesting money, is to think about manifesting the idea that generates the money. And you have an idea, Wendy, because you're talking about, I'd like to generate a certain level of income as a copywriter. And you think about that level of income, and here's the other part. It can come to you in all sorts of ways. But you say, here's the way I'd really love to generate it. And I'm open to generating it in all sorts of different ways that I would absolutely love that I can't even yet see. So I'm going to take more action from this energy of this person that loves to write and articulate on behalf of all these other people. And I love it when they read what I write and they get so excited that I actually got their idea correct. And then they get so excited to pay me for doing this really great work that I do. To be in that experience and take action from that experience, there you go. You're on your way. Yeah, thank you. So the other thing that I wanted to touch on with regard to Gerald's question, because Gerald said, "Well, great, now I have this vision. Well, how do what do I do with it? Like, I want to live this life. I'm really excited about it, but like give me the action steps, right? It can't just be I go to a mountaintop and think about it every day." um, and when I said generating the energies of gratitude and achievement, it goes back to this vital point that where we place our attention is creating a image on repeat in the movie screen of our mind. So you have a habit for what you pay attention to. And your habit is creating your current and your present identity. When you decide that you're going to be a new identity, and Wendy, if you don't mind, I'm just going to use your example. I have this identity of a copywriter who generates a very specific number, a very specific amount of money. Now I'm going to take my precious attention and use it to focus on the places where I already see this showing up. So here's one way I already see it showing up. There is food in my kitchen. I have something to eat today. I have a place to sleep again tonight. Sometimes it's really basic. Sometimes it's bigger, like I'm really grateful that I have a new client. I'm really grateful that there is a paid invoice in my inbox of my email. I'm grateful that I've generated income doing this, period. In my lifetime, so I can prove, I can see that this is already a possibility. And then achievement, I am so proud that I have generated income as a copywriter. I am so proud that I have served this many businesses and people as a copywriter every day. Not once a week, not once a year, every day. This is needle moving because what you pay attention to expands. It grows. It's like those little sponges that you put in the bathtub for kids. They're like tiny and then you throw them in the bathtub and they get really big. That's what happens when you pay attention to stuff. It's like you're taking it from anything all the time that grabs your attention, and boy, do we live in a world that does that, and saying, "Nope, I'm just gonna look at this for right now. I'm gonna see what happens if I just focus on this right now." And that is how vigilant we need to be about what we are paying attention to. And I'm gonna say this again, it is never in service of denial. It's not, I'm going to pay attention to this. La, 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 la. Nothing bad ever happens. I don't feel any bad emotion. La, la, la. It's to say, even when I'm feeling this emotion, even when it feels so hard sometimes, I still have a choice to see that which I can cause or generate gratitude for, and that which I can claim as an achievement even in the midst of some of the most difficult things that we've been through in our lives, we can say that we had the ability to do that. And what else I'll say about really tough emotion is that it actually holds more power when you try to avoid it than when you move through it. It holds a lot more power when you put it away in the closet and you say, I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. When you actually take it out and you look at it right in the face, now you can move through it and release it. So, where we place our attention is so vital. And for a lot of people, and I'll say this for myself, um, the news is something that for a long time I thought it was my responsibility to know every single thing that was happening in the news. Dawn, I know. Um, I thought it was my responsibility to be a socially present, active citizen of our country and of our globe. And I have since really begun to understand that yes, I want to be aware and I want to understand what's happening, nationally and globally. But it is not my responsibility to adopt the emotion of the news. And this has been needle moving in my life. So, where I place my attention for an entire day, a little bit on news, but I'm not letting those personally, and I think this has served a lot of people in their lifetimes. I am not reading the news 5 times a day, 6 times a day, once a day, one time, sometimes not even that. I'll say that. Okay. So now that you have a vision, which I am elated to know that you all wrote visions, um, I want to talk about something that happens right after you begin to explore a new possibility for yourself. And it's called your paradigm. Your paradigm is the part of you that wants to keep you exactly the way you are today. And it's not mean. It's not like it doesn't, it's not like this mean, evil force, but it's just a part of you that says anything other than what I already know is dangerous. It's a protection mechanism. And it shows up in a lot of ways that feel very logical. It can show up in a lot of ways that say, I'm going to grab your attention away from the thing that you say you really want to pay attention to because you don't have enough money to pay attention to that. Right? You don't have enough money to even entertain that. Or where are you going to find the time to do that? Or who do you think you are to entertain that? The paradigm isn't always a very nice voice. It's the voice that can get us off track from our vision. It can say, "You tried that before and it didn't work. You tried that before and it didn't work. So what do you think is going to be different about this time?" It's if we can understand that that's already going to happen and prepare ourselves and name it for what it is, we can nip it in the bud. It's not going away. It's there forever and ever and ever until the day that we take our last breath. It's not going anywhere. What we can do is learn how to live with it and work with it instead of resisting it and pretending that it's not there. Thinking on autopilot is pretending that if I just take the action, if I just take the action, if I just take the action, all my world is going to change. What I am encouraging you to understand is that when you take action as the organizing pattern of you without beginning to identify as the new you, these results will not show up consistently and they won't stick around. The paradigm can make you feel like the results are never going to change, like the thing is never going to work, like you should just be grateful for where you are. You're already living an amazing life. Why are you even entertaining? This is so hard. This is so hard. Why are you even doing this? Like it can feel like all of that. But if we know it's going to show up, and if we're on alert, if we're on high alert for this voice that's taking us away from this thing that we know we want, we have the ability to stop it in its tracks. And I will give you an example right now of the way the paradigm has showed up in my life. So and I mean, it happens every day in some way, but this was a biggie. I told you that I did this forgiveness process with my dad. It was a whole process that my mentor laid out for me that I now share with my clients. If I could share it all with you right now, I would, but we don't have that much time. So right the exact day that I put aside this time to do this forgiveness work, the voice in my head said, "Do you really need to do this? This is a bunch of baloney. Your partner's going to be home soon and she's going to think you're such a weirdo and all this stuff." And I mean, I was this close to not doing it. I mean, I was this close to just saying, "This is baloney. Why am I even going to do this?" But I heard my mentor's voice in that moment say, "Your paradigm is going to talk you out of doing a lot of things. It's going to be right there, this little soft, logical voice that says, 'Don't worry about that, Mary.'" But then my mentor said, "This is really important, and forgiveness is a massive part of this process." And I let her voice be louder than the voice of my paradigm in that moment. And I truly believe that that was the first step to me finding Dan, my current partner, like a relationship I never knew I was going to be in, or that I could have, it is amazing. So that's the kind of thing that the paradigm does. It just slides you away. It just sort of takes you off the road in this like really seductive way that just seems like, whatever, I don't have to do that. But when you ask yourself in that moment, wait, is this my paradigm showing up? And then, but is this actually an action step that I want to take that leads me closer to my vision? Sometimes intuitive, sometimes counterintuitive. Those are the questions to ask. And when the answer is, this is on my way to my vision, and I do think this is just that part of me that's trying to hold me back and keep me where I am, then you have your clear answer. Keep moving forward. This is also a reason it's very helpful to give somebody else access to your thinking. This is a difficult thing to hear because we're inside our own heads all the time. So here's what I invite you to do when you're feeling that stuck feeling. The paradigm loves confusion. It loves for you to feel like you're in gridlock traffic and there's no exit ramp in sight. And here's how you just create the exit ramp. First, name it. You know what? I think it's that thing that Mary told me about. I think it's that paradigm talking, because I know that this is an action step that I want to take that lines me up closer to my vision. And by the way, every action step has the potential to line you up to your vision. It's not, there's a certain list that you have to go find. You know what it is. Trust yourself. Another tangent. Anyway, so the next thing I really encourage you to do is have your vision handy. And here are some places that I think really are helpful. the notes section on your phone. Sometimes I'll put like images and little bullet points in the notes section on my phone that remind me of my vision. You can put a note card in your wallet that reminds you of your vision in whatever way that is for you. It can be a bullet point, it can be a certain image. Having like a certain playlist on your phone that you listen to in moments when you're in the midst of some crunchy stuff, that can help get you out of the feeling of gridlock traffic. And this question can really help. What can I do where I am with what I have? What can I do where I am with what I have? How often has it felt like, oh, if only I had more money? If only I lived there. If only I looked like that. If only that were my life. If only, if only, if only, if only. This is a train going to nowhere. It's something that we all do. But here's a destination. What can I do where I am with what I have? And just allow yourself to write. Write, just brain dump. Begin to engage with your creative thinking. Get out of the stuck and into the creativity. You always have the ability to go there. And then finally, to have partners in believing. Like Ryan, I'm guessing your brother is a partner in believing, since you guys are both in this work. That's so, so incredible. Like to have people who believe in your capacity to live your dream. And I'm not just saying a mentor, a coach. These are people who you can access at any minute, anytime you need it in your life. And something that you're doing in this moment, setting this up right here, is creating a structure of support for yourself. No matter what happens, folks, like we live in a world of infinite possibilities. And there are an infinite number of ways for you to achieve your dream. But you know there are going to be moments when the dogs start barking really loud. So set yourself up for that moment, even if you don't feel it right now. Set yourself up for that moment so that you have a system that you could just like have these steps written down and have that ready to go. It is amazing what happens when you have this predetermined list of things to do before stuff gets tough. Like I'm ready to go. I'm ready for action. So insight is powerless without action. Wendy, this is exactly why you asked that question. So thank you so much. Yeah, it's like I could sit around and think all day long, but like, what do I then go do? Exactly. Thank you for asking. So my question for you is, with what you wrote today, what is one thing that you can commit to today that leads you in the direction of your vision? I'm going to stop share here for a minute because I really want everyone to walk away with an action step. Would anyone be open to sharing something that they can currently see as an action step? One action step. I'm not saying the action step, but one thing that will help lead you in the direction of your vision.
Okay, like for my case, right, it's to be the high income copywriter. So I need to take action as in spend 2 hours doing copywriting stuff, at least 2 hours on daily basis to upgrade my skill and also yeah, to get clients.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
All right.
Wendy, I encourage you to put that in your calendar
Mm-hmm.
and get
Okay.
really specific with how you're going to use those 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you for
Okay.
sharing.
Thank you.
What else? What's everyone else got? Hi, Dawn.
Hi there. I am going to, mine is in the category of relationships, to reach out and and call people. I'm always talking myself out of calling this one. Oh, they're going to be busy. Oh, this, but I want to have more relationships of supportive, positive people. And isolation, breeds doubt and all of that. And we're already isolated this way. So that's what I'm going to, is reaching out to someone maybe every day, either email or calling them. So every day I'm going to write that in
Oh,
my
Dawn,
calendar.
that is great. And a great thing to do before you reach out is to read that relationship vision. Get yourself in the energy of it's already happening before you do the reach out. That's a great, thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
I am going to put in my calendar, or re-put in my calendar, just taking the time to exercise, like walking, sure, but also just like doing the workouts that I used to do that like made me feel good in my body. That's something
Yeah.
that I've been kind of missing out on. And so that's something I'm going to put back in my calendar.
Oh, Michael, great. Thank you for sharing. And it's incredible the creative thinking that we do as a result of moving our bodies. Such great things come from that. Yeah. Ryan, would you be willing to share your action step?
Yeah, so me and my brothers have been working on a podcast. And so actually, my brother Ronnie has a podcast through our work, but we're going to come together. All three of us. I have another brother, Randy. I don't think you met him. But I'm thinking I already read a good amount, but I need to commit to like at least 1 to 2 hours of podcast / books per day. So I'm just constantly, learning in the learning zone. They talk about performance zone and learning zone, constantly learning so I can always be bringing something, a new perspective to that podcast when that launches. We're still in the discovery stage, but we're thinking sometime in January, February.
Awesome, Ryan. So good. 1 to 2 hours a day. So I highly encourage you to put that on your calendar. Block it out. See exactly where it's going to fit in. Thanks for sharing. And please share the podcast with me once it's launched.
Will do.
Julie, would you come in and share your action?
Sure. I was thinking about how I'd like to write articles for magazines. And I thought one thing I could do is like list connections I have that could be sources for my articles.
Awesome idea. Awesome idea. Again, I encourage you to put it in your calendar. It's incredible what happens when we actually see the moment we're going to do it. It's right there. I don't think Magda's here anymore. Magda, are you here? I think one of her devices might still be signed in. What about Kristen? Are you still here? Miss Johnson?
I'm here.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Mary.
Hey. Would you be willing to share your action step?
Yeah, I actually have a bunch of action steps, but I was trying to think of the main action step that I take every day. Oh, here's a good one. Journaling. So waking up and spending time by myself and in my thoughts and journaling about how I want the day to go, and what I want to accomplish throughout the day, and also thinking about the day before and what I've accomplished that day. So just spending time in the morning, and giving myself, I guess, grace before I start my day.
I love that, Kristen.
Thank you.
I love that. There is something so special about when we first wake up and our brains are the quietest. They're not always quiet, but they're usually the quietest. So I love that, Kristen. And really like writing a vision for the day ahead is such a brilliant idea. Okay, so let's get back into so I wanted to talk to you about the power of support. I know T knows this person. This is a client of mine named Melissa, and she has been in support with me for 2 years. And I'm telling you, the day that we met, her life was already very good. She was living amazing results already. But there was something knocking at her. Like there's something more. There's something more for me to know. There's something more for me to experience. And so she signed up for support with me. And since we began working together, the results in her life have been absolutely incredible, because we're working with law, and the law is the law. She's had an amazing wedding. She's been promoted at work. She's making more money than she's ever made before. She's actually considering moving into a bigger apartment in one of the most expensive cities in our country. She has an amazing relationship with her husband. Her relationship with her mom has completely transformed. She's adopted a dog, which is amazing. Just like you and just like T and Michael, just adopted a dog. And I think fundamentally, some of the things that have really just, I've been so grateful and honored to be present for is the way that people have commented on the way that she interacts with really stressful moments, especially at work. She often gets comments like, "How are you so steady and calm when everything feels like really shaky and scary?" So people are really noticing the fact that she's in this structure of support, whether they know why it's happening or not. What's happening in Melissa is that she isn't on that pendulum that many of us are often on. Um, Really high highs and really low lows. There's this steady flow of consistent gratitude and well-being in her. And it's just been my honor and joy to serve her as her partner in believing that the vision that she created the first day that we met, the first thing that we ever did, the results are already showing up, and her expansion of that vision, it just keeps expanding. And this is what happens in all of us. And the reason that that happens is because it's an invitation to know more of who we are, to know more of the amazingly powerful, unlimited beings that we truly are. And there are all these things that hold us back from leaning into that. Things that we've learned to believe about ourselves, things that we've been taught by very well-intended people. It's just that most people don't know how to trust good feeling. And most people don't tell you how to trust good feeling. And I am telling you to trust good feeling. Trust the things that light you up. Trust the things that you can't stop doing. The time just flies by. You love it. Trust that it's guiding you. And that the vision inside of you is not about the getting, it's about the growing. It's about who you become in the process of being the person in your vision. But the reason it is so important to have a vision is because we need the route to appear. Without the vision, there isn't intention. And the route is not always connecting the dots, writing an email. Sometimes it's doing a forgiveness ceremony. Sometimes it's moving your body so that you can access your creative thinking. And this is why being in a system of support is so needle moving. Rather than patchworking support together, which was, I mean, Melissa and I are a lot alike. We cannot consume enough self-development stuff. What happens when you focus and you get really repetitive and you give one person access to your thinking over and over and over again is that you don't need the next hit all the time. You actually get better and better and better at just hearing you. Energy becomes more efficient. My hope for you today, oh gosh, this keeps falling out. Every time I smile, my earbud comes out. That doesn't work very well. My hope is that today what you heard and what you, if you've done anything like begun to believe, is that you don't have to wait for any fact or condition to change in order to put your imagination in service of your dream. And your dream is not to fix anything, it's to grow you. You are already amazing, unlimited, perfect beings. But there's probably an experience you haven't yet lived that you would really like to live. And when you can begin to see life that way, less in the context of the way we hear about it and we think about it a lot, the getting, you know, we talk about the getting a lot in our culture. When you can think about this more from curiosity and imagination, almost like that childlike wonder and awe, God, it just becomes so much more fun and interesting. It really does. Any final, you know what? Oh, one other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to put that link. If you would like to sign up for a discovery call with me, I'm going to put that link in the chat again. You are welcome to do that. It would be an hour where we spend focused on you and your dream so that I can really pour into you and help you see that it's possible and help you see all of the ways that you can begin to believe it and live into it today. This is really my joy and honor to sit here and deliver information that really does have the potential to change the rest of your life and the way that you interact with every moment of your life, no matter what that moment feels like or looks like. And my hope is that you all feel that too. Even when you feel like you're in gridlock traffic and there's no exit ramp in sight, that we can even interact in those moments differently in our minds. Because there are an infinite number of possibilities. We live in an infinite universe. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here today with me. You are my vision. This is me living my vision with you. And you have helped me live that today. And I thank you so much. We are wrapping up a little bit early. Is there anything that anyone wanted to share before we close our time today, or complete our time together today? Thank you, Kristen. Thanks for being here. Okay, everyone. Well, have a wonderful holiday season. I will be doing these every month for the entire year of 2021. So I will keep emailing you unless you tell me not to, and that's okay too if you don't want to get emails from me. But I will send you the January visioning workshop, and I will hold you all in a vision of health and wealth and abundance.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks, Mary.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks, Mary.
Care.
Thanks, everyone. Yeah.
Thank you.